like it to be a 3-map series. I would like excl to win their map pick, but probably fall short after 3.
Ladies, gentlemen, everyone at home, we've got a big one up next. It's Apeks versus ECSTATIC, and the winner goes to Copenhagen. Jackie and Vince, over to you.
Ooh, will the Danes make it to the Royal Arena and be able to show up in Copenhagen? It's a big question mark, isn't it, Vince? But a best of 3 ahead of us. Apeks looking to make it back to the Major. First-time appearances for Kakanito and Sense on that roster. A lot of little stories to work our way through. But we start it off here on Inferno, and it's the CT side start for Apeks. Contact towards B, Sense looking to hold the line.
Has to fall back, smoke and flash in his eyes. And he was the only B defender, so as long as he stays alive, it's going to allow the rest of his team to pivot off him and work in conjunction with one another. However, this is 4 players all coming up banana. They've been heard from a mile away from Salazar, but Kakanito still removes the head of Salazar and goes in for Kraken. 2 of those big heavy hitters already dispatched in the opening few moments of that confrontation. And now Queenix at the back of the site has to try and hold the line, but everyone else around is falling, leaving Patti in a 1-on-4. All 3 of the players facing him are pretty low, but it's jkaem to seal the deal. It was looking good for a few moments there on excl, but then Kakanito showed up and just carved a path through everybody.
He's been explosive as well, isn't he? You know, we've seen a lot of highlights towards jkaem, and rightly so. Man is sporting an unbelievable rating at the RMRs, but Kakanito, in the way that he's been playing, it's really interesting. He's explosive, but he's very intelligent with the peaks that he goes for, Vince, and it's been bailing them out in a lot of situations, and that's a pistol round that comes with pedigree.
It's a hell of a way to kick things off as well. Just when excl were hoping to dial in a fairly straightforward opener on their T side. You know, the desk was talking about overpass, dooms you to that T side half. Same for Inferno. Can feel extremely unenjoyable once the CT start to find their footing, especially if they're taking banana control like this with Sense and jkaem. That's a hell of a duo that's already smoked their way down onto lower side of banana. And there is a little bit of utility on the side of excl. They have gone in for a force, but Stiko going to be tossing down the smoke and just backing out of there, playing safe.
Take the time off the clock. Don't worry about losing your face. Meanwhile, back down towards banana. Sense jiggling on the corner, looking for information with a pin pulled on his smoke. As soon as you get contact, you can dash it out. Now begins to double back. Meanwhile, bit of a push, bit of information round towards brackets, seeing if there's any overextension from the CTs and giving them a way in to fight for control here.
See that Nodios is keen to have a peek in, but was waiting for that smoke to plume first. Allows him to focus on the quad side, but Stiko double tapping onto Nodios. First bullet takes the head, and the rest finishes him off. Throwing in their last smoke, flash and Molotov, 30 seconds on the timer, and they've got a really good couple of positions to just thwart this push, and Stiko with a double spray, but Salazar, and more importantly, Kraken come in, and they clean up the site. Could very well be a post plant, 2-on-3.
Stiko lighting it up, going down with the flames, but dealing more than enough damage to soften them up and make it easier on the retake. Apeks, in terms of the utility for this one, it's bone dry. Don't have the util to get you back into the site. Can't flash over the top. So it's got to be down to the gun skill alone. Kraken, he's lurking in the back of the pit. Trying to go for the little face. Finds the head of Sense and sets them up into a 2v2. Queenix falls, but Kraken's doing all the work. Now left with 26 HP. Peeks round, takes the fight and wins it.
Very impressive round from Kraken in particular, man. A 2-on-3 retake, but they both had those rifles in good post-plant positions. And Kraken showing us again why he is the top performing player coming into this very game, statistically speaking, over the duration of their previous matchups. Nork head in hands. For multiple reasons. I mean, they also have just been broken straight up. You've got your first couple of buys in. You're feeling pretty confident. Suddenly you're broken back down to reality. And this buy is going to be like 5-7s maybe, deagles, if they even want to go for a buy at all.
It's that rough sort of slap in the face immediately, right? You take the pistol, everyone's kind of fired up. You're thinking, all right, boys, we can ease into the flow state, get a grasp on the game. And then you're broken. I thought Stiko had done enough defending as well towards quad. Didn't work out for him that way, though. Kraken with a nice round. 1 for 1 at the start. So like you say, back down to just the pistols. More akin to basically just a deco here from Apeks.
Kragan with 4 kills already. Salazar was helping him out as well on the approach of those MAC-10s. Still have the MAC-10 on the hands of Patti, but everybody else feeling pretty strong at this stage with their premier rifles. Flashbang tailor-made for a peek. The extra Molotov in onto the sandbags, and whereas they've played a lot of banana aggression so far, Patti was so quick to turn his back, play the anti-flash position, and Kakanito and jkaem just walk into the barrage of bullets. 2 quick kills. And Apeks struggling once more, looking like a pretty straightforward 2-1 for the Danes.
Deco on the Deagle, looking to at least buy a bit of time and hold back the oncoming assailants, but they've bypassed him, found their way into the bomb site. Gives it up now, rotating off and looking to just hold on to what he's got. Of course, a little bit of armor sprinkled in there. You've got the nades as well and those deagles, so don't throw them into the wind for absolutely nothing.
Definitely. It would be a different ball game if they had the money to afford sort of rifles coming into the next one, but they know that the early stages of this Inferno is wrought with poverty at this stage. And so holding on to anything is worth a huge amount, especially considering, you know, Deagles and the P250 and stuff in the current iteration of CS2 is always going to be possible to bring you into rounds that you have no right in being in. But Nork's not going to be able to hold on to his. Neither will ENCE. And then excl, it wasn't just the fast take, it was the fact that they had a good read of the situation. And although Steiko's posted up too, it will just be him potentially with any kind of weapon going into the next round. So the Danes off to a fantastic start. There's a lot of Danish players still in contention for Copenhagen. You've got the likes of, you know, Dupree and Preasy and the rest of that squad. It could be still a pretty stacked event. Astralis is still in with this one. They're playing Monte right now on the B stream. So it could be a case, you know, Denmark could be proud come the end of today. But it could also go pear-shaped.
Yeah, there's 2 timelines, right, of getting an awful lot of representation there off the back of these best of 3s. Or having an opportunity for that ripped away from you. And suddenly there's a lot less of the hometown heroes. Hang on a minute though, this could be something a little bit cheeky, couldn't it? Double Zeus brought out. Oh, it's not about the electricity, it's the raw firepower as the Deagle of Steiko continues to deal deathly blows. Nork, he went for it. I mean, confidence, man. Run in with that Zeus, see if you can use it like a shotgun. Not going to work out too well though.
I was a bit surprised once that smoke came down. He didn't try and play on the periphery of it and maybe shut down a T if they wanted to push through. Maybe trying to funnel the Ts back onto the A side, which is stacked by Apeks players, but whichever way you spin it, it's not really worked out for them. However, they do have their hands on a Galil, which would be a nice little buffer to their next buy. Steiko 7-1, by the way. Even though his team are going to be trailing 3-1 come the end of this round, it goes to show he's shown up to the server so far. He's feeling it with that Deke. Thing is, though, for excl to already have 3 rounds on this T half and to be consistently keeping Apeks in an awkward, uncomfortable position, economically speaking, this about is as good as it gets as far as they're concerned. Like, you lose the pistol, you get a post plant, you break down the CTs. This next round is not going to be fantastic either in terms of money. I mean, you're looking across there at the funds, 4,200 for Nork. Can't really justify an AWP. Like, these are pieces of the puzzle that you really want on the CT half, and it's going to take a while before they get there.
It will. It will slow them down a little bit. For excl, they can keep speeding up. Not a side that really tell you the story of the emotional effects of Counter-Strike on their faces. Usually pretty stone cold, pretty stoic. But if they carry on playing like this, they might give themselves something to smile about here into the first map. Round 5 goes live then. A battle towards Banana, the exchange of utility. He's got a path to play with here around the back of the Flames. And he'll take ahead. ENCE slain, jkaem looks to defend and at least goes 1 for 1 to stop the instant take.
That was so aggressive, man. There was like 3 HEs tossed up, multiple Molotovs. And then Patti removes the head of ENCE, who's off to a 0-5 start, puts more pressure on the CT defense. They have to trade over a secondary unit from the A side. And Kakanito gets peppered through the smoke alongside jkaem. They have no incendiaries left with 1 minute and 10 left on the clock. So any kind of potential banana take is off the cards. That's where they're going in for that quite quick peek. But Nork also gets bested. Multiple players are low, and Stiko continues to twist the knife. Another double, but they've lost control over the A side.
Much needed pickups as well there from Stiko. He's feeling it individually, doing a lot for the team. Kakanito on the flank back around towards quad. He'll be repelled. Now you're down to that 2v2. Site is taken, no bomb planted. excl setting themselves up for a fourth. It gets a whole lot worse. jkaem just peering in from the back of the library. Wants to shush them if he can, but it's on Stiko to make the moves.
Can he get double digits already in the early stages of this game? Between the two of them, they have no kits. Smoke down onto Pit, gonna try and draw out Queenix. They may have already missed out on their chance here. I think they're realizing it. Yes, you've got the kill, but there's no kit in play for either of these two. And Queenix is fine if he goes down with the bomb. That's not a problem as far as excl are concerned, because I'm not sure the last CT will survive that bomb blast. It was about to go off. Regardless, though, excl are going to have the 4-1 lead. And even though Stiko is performing and he is fragging and he is keeping them in these rounds, it doesn't feel like there's a secondary piece that's really following him up. You've got Sense still yet to get off the mark. jkaem has been a phenom throughout this tournament. We were talking about his stats before. It's comparable to Donk and Zaiwu. I mean, that's insane when you think about it. A guy that's 13 and been around the block for so long, and yet he hasn't really had a chance to deliver just yet either. And some of that's been down to this crazy aggressive banana take from excl. They're so fast, it doesn't really allow any of these pieces to get into place. That's going to have to change, though, Jackie, and that's why they can call a timeout and try and figure out what to do next.
Instantly go back to the drawing board and discuss what needs to be adapted here. It was the heads-up play from Nork as well on the face towards middle. In those sort of situations, you'd normally back him, right? You're kind of thinking, okay, this is one of those where it makes sense. You take the fight, equalize the numbers a little bit, give them something to work with. But as soon as that got ripped away, so much pressure on Stiko's shoulders. He hits the shots, but it doesn't amount to an overall round. At least here, they're able to find themselves a bit of a buy to work with. Fragmented in some places, though. 2 pistols out. One of them a CZ on Sense. They switch up the angles. Nork with the AWP. He looks to defend mid, going for the boost from quad side.
I think it's safe to say that this war of banana has been pretty comprehensively won by excl. Apeks do not have the utility to really justify it. And they may feel a bit more timid about those prospects anyway, because these last few engagements have gone heavily against them, even when they've had rifles. And that is a huge part of the map to win out time after time, round after round. It really makes it so much more claustrophobic on the CT side. Makes it slower for you to rotate and try and wrap around the back if a weak call comes out, and Kakanito actually tanks that smoke to the head. It's going to keep a little bit of a blockade there. I think it was designated towards the arches. Goes to show as well that Stiko is a real team player, man. Like, he's the guy popping off, he's the guy landing kills and spray downs and stuff, but he still buys a weapon, drops it to his teammate, and takes the 5-7.
Thinking about the bigger picture. Not just the individual one. Kakanito towards Arch. Ooh, a lot of damage, but no actual pickup on the frags. At least Stiko continues on with the success he's finding, and that's an upgrade to an AK that could have huge reverberations in the round. He battles back, hits onto another player. Got a rough idea of where they could be towards Boiler as well, but right now Stiko's the one turning up the temperature.
Unfortunate timing. Had the right idea, though, pulled out of there, allowed the rest of the CTs to make moves in. But now that Stiko's been found and put down, it allows the Danes to focus their attention over on arches. And you're in a situation where a save is looking more than likely. No kits, lack of utility. And excl showing us that, listen, they may be a fairly unknown team coming into this RMR from a lot of people, especially that watch sort of like the top flight of Counter-Strike, the Tier 1, Tier 1.5 bracket. These guys are fast on the trigger. When you are out dueling Kakanito, when he has the drop and the perfect angle on you, you must be somebody with some serious mechanical skill, because we were seeing him bully their previous opponents and making it look easy. He was dropping 18 in the first half. Ancient really is his playground, which obviously we'll get to later on, but that is very impressive. These entry frags from excl have been really slick.
Whole roster coming out swinging into their major qualification best of 3. An opportunity to finally grasp a shot at getting that crown jewel of Counter-Strike, making the appearance, immortalizing your name in the game as well. And Kragan, he's been the big dog for the ECSTATIC roster over the course of the RMR, posting the 1.11. Ooh, Salazar on the contact, though. Not working too well with the AWP to get the opener. And there is 2 frags. Unfortunately, one of them is a bit of a team kill from jkaem slaying ENCE.
Oh, he can't catch a break, can he? He's 0-6. He's just been TK'd. Bro, please, let me play the game. I mean, the terrifying thing as well, on Apeks, you're in the 7th round. Stiko has the rest of your team covered by himself. There's 9 kills between the other 4 players, 2 of which have yet to get off the mark, one of which is your AWPer.
Yeah.
We were talking before, like, they don't have the piece of the puzzle, they don't have the open play. Even when they've had it available, it still hasn't had any impact.
You couldn't do anything too risky with it into the previous round, right? You kind of go for the quad setup, hope if they come up mid-wall, but then maybe it will find success there. And into this round, it would need to sing, needs to be a really big piece. These site controls being fought for, though. There's a quick rotate. They've at least got the flank to play with. Oh, Stiko. You see Salazar on the reface. At least getting one. Brings the numbers down into an advantage for the CT team. Switches out to the AWP, goes back to the M4, but runs into the clothesline of Queenix.
He's keeping position as well, just perched up. It's a nice play smoke for him. jkaem, though, from the garden, it's going to try and make the most of this one. Nodius is caught by himself for a few moments, but they line up, and Queenix will put 2 down. Low HP on both remaining players. And jkaem will best Queenix, but again, there's no kit, has to stick on here. The full 10-second defuse, it's going to be close, but I think he may very well have it. And so Apeks gets success for only their 2nd time. It's at great cost to their money, great cost to their overall roster, but jkaem showing signs of life with a huge 4K.
I guess that's what it takes. jkaem's been playing lights out, and on this one, he flips the switch. 4 kills. There's a timeline there, though, man. When he comes around the corner, even when he misses the first AWP shot from Pit, I'm thinking that Glock, oh, it's going to be worth its weight in gold. But the brass did not deal the damage. So Apeks get the round, but like you say, it's not clean at all, right? So you're still in the same position in terms of the overall bank, feeling a bit uncomfortable into this one.
Oh, they're going for banana control, but again, they find themselves on the receiving end. Salazar this time will not miss his shot. Missed a bit of a sitter in the last one. But Apeks they're desperately trying to make something happen. They're almost forcing it. And this ecstatic roster showing that they are very adept at dealing with this part of the map. ENCE 07, 22 ADR. Having a rough day at the office so far, but Nork at least has made moves over and is allowing that secondary player of jkaem to move on to the A site. The timing, though, nearly ripping him to shreds. Smoke has been deployed.
Stiko, he's got their number every time out towards the apartments, the landlord. And boy, is he claiming rent money on that play. Nork looking to defend towards B, though. He sees the head, instant snapshot, giving out freebies. Will be overwhelmed by Salazar. Close range angle with the AWP, wields it well, gets the bomb planted. Patti's got the flank covered as well towards Banana. You're slightly outnumbered in this one, though. 2v3, Apeks. Will they find success at the B-bomb site once more?
Problem for me, though, is that the utility they have is centralized on Stiko. He's got a flash and a smoke. They do have a kit this time. But if Patti takes Stiko out of the equation, that should be the round going with it. Because the crossfire now is very deadly. There's not much time left on the clock. Someone has to be proactive. This is where you're looking at jkaem's aggression. But the flick is good from Salazar. An ecstatic bounce right back in. Extend their lead to 6-2 and knock down their adversaries again. Apeks they can't deal with this B-side pressure.
Calling it the Battle of Banana, but it's very one-sided, isn't it? It's basically just for free. They're the potassium punishers right now. Every time they want to take those early fights towards Banana, the Danes are just hitting their shots. Salazar's starting to feel himself as well on that AWP, man.
Oh, the first kill, he was flashed, but he just took the shot anyways. Like, I've been flashed, he may go for a peek, gets the kill. That second shot on Coffins, the flick was beautiful. And understandably, again, Apeks going to be calling their tactical timeouts thick and fast here because they know the importance of really building a good foundation on the CT side. The T half is not going to be any easier. Yes, they have very aggressive players that are on form. I mean, Stiko is coming into this game lights out, Jack. He's been fantastic throughout, consistently, really solid, even in the rounds they've been losing. That is terrifying within itself. The problem is this is incredibly top-heavy, and Kakanito hasn't quite found his footing just yet.
No, and every game we've seen, he's always been kind of that second in line where you can rely on him for those clutch rounds where you need a bit of extra oomph for the Apeks squad. They even switch up the play this time, realizing obviously with the weaponry, you've got to try and go for something a bit more aggressive. Ooh, if he makes the jump, there's a potential opening pick for Apeks. Instead, it all gets a little bit uncomfortable. You're grouped up towards the apartment. Salazar in a contact face, clears Boiler, resets Nork, down a number. Kakanito in the back line could be a big piece of it. Stiko trying to fight from the front, always good for 2, it seems at the minute. But the numbers quickly flip-flopping. Kakanito on the SMG, lights up Kragan. And it's all down to 1 man.
That's more like it if you're Apeks. You're very happy with how this round has gone, assuming that you can now seal the deal and finalize it. And that's not necessarily a given, because Nodius, already with 1, full HP, has control over the bomb, but Kakanito's making moves through apps, missing that timing of window. Gets a second chance. Triple spray in this round. Apeks up to their 3rd. And they lost the first player again there. The AWP shot into, I think it was Nork who was in Boiler. It was looking like they were just going to spill out onto the site, but Stiko, 2 huge impact kills again on the site from this position in the boxes. The second kill is the really important one. But this guy is so dependable right now, man. Like you said, he's always good for a couple. That's exactly what Apeks need.
14 kills in the space of those first 9 rounds. But Apeks, the hot commodity of actually getting those rounds over the finish line, well, they've only been able to achieve 3 of them. Switch up here towards Banana as well. They've been pushing down very aggressively. Instead, you just go for the default nade set. HE's towards the bottom, inflicts a little bit of damage and strips 40 HP, but it doesn't matter if he's got health, Vince, as he hits all the shots in the world. A single point of health, but 2 kills for the price of none.
Bruh. Now 2 AKs into the hands of excl. I don't know how you comprehend that if you're Apeks, but that's a pretty nice way of getting yourself back into focus. A quick fire double. HE opens up the smoke, allowing Nork to repel with the AWP. And now with a lot of utility between the last 3 players, and they know that they're up against a weakened buy here, they have to go for this. They simply have to go for this one. There's still plenty of time left on the bomb. You can't be throwing this round away. They need a 4th. Patti stuck in the smoke, P250 in hand. It's the 1 AK for Kragan, who's been really solid in the RMR so far. And there's 1. The spray is good between the 2 of them, and although Nork posts up 1, it's going to be 1 and done. excl with an AK-47 and a bunch of pistols have slapped Apeks again.
2 opening picks on Banana. 1 point of health, a round that again they find success in by just battling up, taking claim of the B bomb site, and the retake repelled instantly. The dinks, the damage, and another one taken for the Danes. A 7th on the board right now. This is their T side as well, and they're just playing with such pace, such confidence into each and every one of these fights. Oh, if there was any sort of pressure, that has been firmly alleviated as they are looking like they're soaring through this game at the start.
Oh, the flashbang hitting both teams. And this time, it's Apeks that come out in the lead. Noddy is still alive, though. It was his AK in his hand that they dealt the fatal damage in that previous one. Nork in a different angle. We haven't seen him up here yet on the balcony. And more importantly, excl haven't seen him here. Stiko with the deke, weakening Nodius. The M4 spray is also in, but Kakanito can't make the most of it. The smoke was messing with his vision. excl still in with a chance in this round in a 2-on-4. They can whittle down the economy again, Jackie. You have 1 more round coming up after this one. If they can take a couple players down here, that could play hell with the next buy, even if excl do concede. There's still plenty to play for, and maybe the outright round win. because Queenix wins that with minimal damage lost in the process. They still have 40 seconds in this 2-on-3 to win.
It's limited information gathered as well for the side of Apeks. And Salazar, he was pre-scoped for quite some time, so no audio cue, giving away that free info for Sense here as he defends back towards CT. They just have to find the right clear on the angle. Sees the barrel, begins to pre-fire, the bullets connect, and he shuts him down. Can't rule with the scepter in this round as Queenix is denied.
Seeker asking for an M4 drop from one of his teammates. And having a quick look, it's going to be more of the same as well on the T side. They're going to need a couple of drops. Players down at $1,800 from riches to rags if you're on the side of excl. But of course, they're still going to lead this half regardless of what happens here. The question is whether they can extend to an 8th or if Apeks can bag themselves a 5th. And you look at their buy and you're like, yeah, this is pretty bad. Well, they had an almost identical buy a couple rounds ago when they just cleaned house on B.
They've been expecting the aggression inside of apartments. Instead, it's Nork playing a bit more dynamically in terms of his positioning, and he holds pre-scoped, ready for the first contact. So that AK is now cold on the ground, recovered by Kragan at least, so it stays alive here in the 12th. A lot of pressure on brackets. He could bleed round the back. There might be a timeline to cause some big issues in the round, and he hits the head of jkaem, shutting down a key player for Apeks.
Not again. Apeks, surely this is not possible. Sense has to watch the side by himself. He's had a bit of a scrappy game and he's taking so much damage through that smoke. Trying to delay as long as possible to allow Kakanito to get in, but the wide swing from Stiko gets spotted. The flanking contingent dealt with accordingly. HE tossed into the smoke, barely even removing the smoke line. excl have the advantage. Apeks may be about to lose another round that shouldn't have been possible.
They've released the Kragan once more. The depth overwhelming Apeks, as those tendrils are pulling all the rounds in favor of excl. That's a great half to start this off. A best of 3, so close away from the potential of getting yourself a spot at the major. And round by round, they are in your face, finding pick after pick. And man, it's that exact same timeline again, right? You kind of hit the mark up where you're saying, doesn't matter, they've only got the 1 AK and a few pistols supporting it, and they put them to great use.
That's an excellent T-half on the side of excl. Like, make no mistake, but I think if we're being honest here, and if you asked Apeks right now, are you happy with how you perform that CT side? It's going to be a pretty unanimous no.
Yeah.
They win the pistol, they let it slip, they lost multiple times against 1 AK and 4 pistols. They never really were fully stabilized in this round. And although you had heroics from Stiko and jkaem who showed up towards the end of that half, it was pretty flat around the rest of the players that you expect to be performing. I mean, did Sens get a couple kills on that half? I think he did in the final round.
Yeah, a few towards the end, putting him at least a couple frags into the game there. But there was, what, a majority portion where we saw him unable to really get activated. He's either the first pick towards top banana or just couldn't find anything in the late round.
Kind of similar situation for Nork. We saw a couple of AWP shots ring out when he got the element of surprise. Banana control was consistently an issue. And we didn't see Apeks try and exploit other elements of the map. Like, you'll see a lot of teams, if they struggle with banana control, they're like, screw it, let's put a couple of mid pushes. Yeah. Let's make this really uncomfortable. Let's get a player into apps and try and wrap around second apps and mess with them a little bit in that regard. So if they're taking banana, we can swarm and swell on them as fast as possible. And Apeks weren't making these adjustments. So excl just felt super comfortable. Like, they're on the T side, you're supposed to dictate the pace of the action. But CS2, really, when you think of the map pool and you think of how the game plays right now, most maps, CT aggression is not only a plus, it's actually kind of required in a lot of cases. As you're seeing here from excl in the pistol round, they're going straight down mid.
I mean, this is an old school classic. Bringing back the club anthems. And a baseline from Patti hits one, at least Kakanito. He's good on his pistol rounds, Vince. You need him to come alive in a position like this. And they quickly recover, putting it back into a better position. Kragan on the fadeaway takes the head of one. But Nork trades it back. No Dios, 1v2. Quick rotate all the way up banana fast. Oh, this is going down to the dying embers that are around then, isn't it? 1v2 retake on the second half pistol.
He's playing it really slow. He wants that first pick to be a surprise attack. a backstab and then put it into one-on-one. But Apeks playing this really wise. A 2v1, stick together. Make sure that if he does get the tap, you've got a fast, avenging frag capable, and because he's messing with Nodius now, he's looking around, he's checking his angles. However, he has cleared this pretty quickly. Tapping that bomb twice. But there's Nok. Delivering with the Glock. Apeks get the second pistol. Game is back on.
Very slippery slope it would have been if they lost that second pistol. excl would have been going from strength to strength with extra firepower to play with. Instead, that knock-on effect is now a benefit for Apeks as they can invest into the AKs, Galils, SMGs, the MAC-10s brought out on parade, and supporting utility as well. For excl, you've got a single smoke. You stick to the starting pistols. Heavy grouping towards arch side as well. A single player playing for audio at the back of B. Everyone else going for the stack.
The classic. A lot of teams will stack 4 players. The Astralis stack, as it's known over on the B site, where you play just in a little cusp. But Patti actually throwing a well-timed smoke. And if they bite down on the idea of this being a full stack on B instead, they could walk into this stack on the arches. This is now getting into a situation where it could end up costing at least 1 weapon. There's no reason for Apeks to get over aggressive here. They've got plenty of time left on the clock. They can outweight this smoke. The other question, I suppose, is like if you're thinking about it being a stack, do you want to throw a smoke down and at least give the position away that one of your players is here? Maybe not. Maybe this is almost reverse psychology coming into play for Apeks. Like, nah, I don't think you are on B, actually. And now ENCE is checking it. He's going to find that this site is completely bereft of any CTs, and they're going to bypass any shenanigans and any loss of life, it would appear.
And now the shoe's on the other foot. You could be giving an awful lot of money over to that T side as the MAC-10 is in a prime position to farm up the fat stack, spraying his way through them. Only 1 trade back, but that's a ton of money made. And a round that should be shut down in a few seconds here. Salazar eventually falls to Norg. You like the decision-making, at least for excl, right? You're never going to win it otherwise. Got to do something a bit unorthodox in terms of the rotation as well. You went back towards Speedway, trying to mess with the audio, making them think they had rotated back round towards B. So try as you might, Apeks won't fall for it. They clear the site, get a nice round. jkaem takes a couple of the ecos to the grave and gets the money to play with as well.
100%, man. I mean, the chance of you getting success in those kind of rounds, if you just stick with USP, is very low. I think that's why we're also going to start to see a lot more uses picked up, as it's got a buff.
Yeah.
Only $200. That's maybe where you can start to play a little bit more, you know, default Counter-Strike, as it were, with some uses on close-range angles. Inferno lends itself very much to a Zeus. You can get one in apps, you can get one at top of Banana. But in the here and now, no need for Zeuses, because excl do have a buy, but not ideal, and already Patti's taken a chunk of damage down to 39.
Nodios trying to play in the new cubby, close towards middle. Default Molotov removes that position from him. Bit of audio as well. A fair amount of unconfirmed chip damage done across the CT side roster at the minute. They're losing a lot of health. Patti's very green around the gills. Trader smokes on B. Kragan pushes through the first. At least peppers it, making sure they're aware there's still a player here.
And because of this lack of utility on a map like Inferno, they're going to decide to actually stack together 4 players strong. And this allows them for a fast save if things go bad on B. The problem is, though, that Nork has gone looking and he's found a pretty clean kill. What they're hoping for is a wide swing onto quad without a flash. It'll be the easiest of pickings on excl. That doesn't seem to be the case. However, keep in mind, 25 seconds left and now the bomb is coming up. And it's exactly that. No flash, wide swing into 2 players. Bomb spilled down, but Stiko keeping the dream alive.
The stalwart of Stiko. Time and time again, finding these multi-frags. couldn't have come at a better time at that one. It was really starting to slip away and look quite uncomfortable. You're thinking about the amount of time you've got left, how far they were away from each other in terms of the spacing as well. If he doesn't go off like that, Vince, the round, well, that could have been passed over to the CTs of excl. Instead, now, you've got control, bomb planted, happy with this one to guarantee it, so it will be a 7th going their way. Patti and Kragan back off towards T-steps. If anyone exits down mid, maybe you can take some guns out of their hands. Probably the best that they could be hoping for. Their money is pretty much in the bin, though.
Yeah, precisely, man. Like, if Stico doesn't deliver from Apps, not only would it have been around to excl, they'd have been able to trade up to multiple AKs and Galils. A big, big trade from what they had coming into this round. And Kragan trying to dodge the bullets through the wall. I don't think there's any penetration through that wall, so he's safe anyway. But Apeks have tied this very close. Just a 1-round deficit in it now. 3 unanswered rounds on the T side. And as you highlighted, Jackie, the money in a rough spot for the Danes. We saw them dictate the pace of the action on the T side, get tons of entries and really make Apeks sweat. Now the tables are turned. Now it's all about Apeks enforcing their will. And I think it's safe to say, you never think that jkaem was in a pressure game. He's just sort of chilling, biting his nails and stuff. But like, he is one of those guys that you're looking at to have a lot of impact on this half. To really start to churn out the rounds, get those little picks, get the extra percentages, and make the most of them.
Pause used as well, because you've got to figure it out, really. With the low buy that you have to work with, man, you've got to prioritize that utility. CT side, Inferno, you need all the bells and whistles. Otherwise, time is just not going to be a factor that you can deny. So they invest lightly, spending money where they can afford to. Flashbangs, smokes to buy time, a little bit of offensive utility as well on a couple of the players. So you've got 3 HGs and at least 2 Molotovs.
Expending a lot of utility early on for banana control. HG tossed up and over, Kakanito taking the brunt of this though, but Patti down to 59, gets aggressive, Kragan in the Molotov, giving his position away, but still not relenting on this push, and nearly gets the reward of Kakanito in the process.
It's also making them know that there is a FAMAS in play here. So you don't want to play as confidently as you might have, thinking, okay, if it's a pistol, we can use the nade, soften them up, clean them out from range. Static rotate. Thinking they might bite off of the initial B push. Apeks held back by the smoke for now. Bit of information from Stico though. He's clearing out towards brackets, trying to get a read on quad, but they haven't gone for that play. They're going back towards B. Kakanito is first entry, very low. Patti should have a free frag here, but the trade was the important part, and Nork, even though he gets dinked, he's still alive.
Could get baited in though, not anticipating a third player to be here. Otherwise they'd be joining the troops, and so Nork should be shut down. Oh, Queenix nearly whiffs it completely. But he at least does get his man, but there's still 2 players here. It's all been a ruse, it's all been a trap, and they fall head first. The USP and P250, last 2 players remaining. Does Stico expect another one here? Oh, this is so dirty from excl. Apeks are gonna be shattered, mentally distraught at what just happened. They got baited multiple times.
Oh, mate, it's the double up as well. You love the play. You can see the ideology behind it, right? He's like, I will just hold this angle. I will face once you die. There is no reason for him to think both of us are playing behind new box, and of course he doesn't. Time and time again. Oh, he could have got so wrong with the 5-7 from second oranges, but it pays off. The whole round goes their way. Oh, mate, they went into that with what? A couple of nades and 2 FAMASes saved from the prior?
Just outrageous, man. How many times have excl won a round in this map already with pistols, 1 rifle here or there? They've done 2 or 3 times on the D side. They've done it again here on the CT side. And this, I can't even fault Stico for that one. You're not expecting another player to be on the new box. Like, no. You can't expect that. As much as he's a veteran, it's not a player I think he's seen many times other than maybe in like FPL or matchmaking. But it's a great call from excl. And just when things were looking a little bit dire, a little bit grim, they've picked up their first CT round. But they need to do something with this. They've been given a chance. Do not squander it.
They tested B a fair few times as well, but they've seen inklings of a slightly weaker defense towards brackets. They feel a bit more confident about this. Sense seems to have an idea to clear towards the cubby as well. Finds the head. 1-for-1 trade as Nodios spams back through the smoke and at least shuts down a single man. Now the bomb on rotation with back up towards B, but Salazar, he takes control of quad. Gets a frag into the back of Stiko, and Kragan still holding. He was tucked in behind the car, gets himself into a better position. Bombs rotated back around to join them towards mid, but Salazar's still here, still waiting, and the Viper strikes again. jkaem down, not content with just two, wanted the third, and takes a deagle bullet to the face.
Quinix needs to get at least one kill from this position, and he's got it. Puts a lot more pressure on Kakanito now, has to watch multiple angles. They would have just spilled straight out into the side. Did a lot of damage through the barrels there. Had the right idea as well. He tries to spin in for a double, but Nodios catches him unaware. An ecstatic move to double digits, breaking Apeks in the process, and may have just dialed in a fast track to this first map, their choice. And it felt like it was important that ecstatic picked this one up, Jackie, because going through into Ancient in particular, that's a map that we're looking at Apeks to have a lot of success with. That will be up next. We've already seen them demolish 2 teams on Ancient so far in this tournament. And that's where jkaem has shone his brightest. So a super important map here for ecstatic. They want to move through. And the crazy thing as well, they win this. This is a progression game. You have qualified for the major if you win this game. And it would put ecstatic at 3-1. Who saw that coming up?
No, absolutely balmy, mate. First time major appearances for the entire team. All the caveats that come with it as well. Everything you garner from making it to the major. The first CS2 major, and it's a hometown one for the team. It could be a very big storyline for ecstatic, at least into this round as well. They keep it clean in the opening duels. Don't want to give away anything for free to those pistols. Those Eagles can always pack a punch. Don't get overconfident. After finding the opening 2 picks, you can play the trade game, use the utility to burn time off the clock, funnel them into you, and hope they finish towards this A site where the buddy system is in play.
I've seen Nock have already quite a bit of impact with that deagle. Naggles here, though, looking very good and sharp for Salazar, already winging Stiko, but he's gonna have to whip out that sidearm. He's about to get pressured and pushed in from multiple angles. Oh, not caught with a grenade out, and Kragan gonna clean up the rest. There wasn't too much in terms of their hopes going into the round, but it's a lot cleaner than I'm sure Apeks were hoping for on the side of the Danes. 11-7 now, the score. And you know, a point that you raised earlier, Jackie, about the multi-fragging capabilities of Stiko, he's always good for 2, is the exact phrase you used. Coming into this round, 6 multi-kill rounds. The closest is 4, which is jkaem. The closest on ecstatic is 3, which is Patti. But even with all of these accolades and stats, still losing 11-7 and can't seem to get into this game now.
No, and now you've basically got to do it entirely flawlessly. It's the last of the pauses they have as well. Can't hold on to it, can't take it to the grave. You might as well use it. See if you can get your heads together, figure out a solution.
Oh, here we go. About to get back on the saddle into this game once more. Ecstatic have the vast lead. It was that cheeky round with the full B stack of different moving parts. Multiple traps laid on top of each other. But Apeks do have a bye. They do still have a chance, and up until that moment, the T side was theirs.
Yeah, they're pretty confident. Get back to basics as well. Fight for banana. Ooh, Sense peppering them, dealing damage at least, and taking command of top banana. So that's now the territory of Apeks. The smoke is up, but that's one smoke wasted that you won't have in the late round for ecstatic to slow down the actual execute. Meanwhile, 3-player setup around towards brackets as well with Stiko. He was an absolute demon inside of the apartments on their CT half. At this point, he's just looking to see if they'll give him any freebies, any information here if they push deep. But they're still just holding. Timing-wise, it's early into the round. You've still got 1 minute and 10 seconds as the second B smoke goes up.
There is only one smoke collectively on the utility belt of excl as it stands right now. queenix has that. Nothing else. Flick from Salazar goes slightly awry. It would have been a hell of a shot if he connects it. Now Kakanito may be sent to the CS gods as he is the sacrificial lamb. Low HP, 35 to try and absorb some punishment for the rest of the team to exploit. Out into the open, jkaem will move and down he will go. They know a second player is here. There's going to be no element of surprise this time. Patti running out of that magazine, runs dry with his HP pool. And in doing so, Apeks now have control over the site and a post plant will come in. I'm not sure that excl will want any further part in this round. They have the money, but you'd rather hold on to this AWP and not throw it away.
There's a buffer there. You've got a few rounds to work with before you start to feel the shivers going down your spine. So holding on to the 3 weapons is far more important. Save the bank on the players you've got and be able to get full drops across to arm everyone with the utility, with the weapons they need, and keep those kits in play. So Apeks, at least for now, getting an 8th on the board here. But even then, there's the timeline, man, where it's worrying me a little bit. That MP9, the bulldozer in the hands of Patti. He looked pretty sick with it. He looked like he was confident for some of the damage he was dealing as well. You find a couple more frags, suddenly that's a retake you fancy going for.
Definitely, man. Especially with how good excl have been in those clutches, in those real chaotic encounters. Able to cultivate a lot of success in the process. But I do like the call. In this particular case, save the AWP, you've got that buffer, you don't need to desperately twitch and snatch out an opportunity. Tons of nades again. But this time, Apeks not pushing behind it, actually sitting back on the T steps.
A lot of noise, a lot of information. Kakanito keeps his eyes trained on his crosshair. Close cubby angle, no one clears it. Patti able to strike for 2 frags and still alive. Molotov raising the heat, paranoid about the potential spread, calls in for the smoke, but that goes both ways. Blocks off the angle for longer and allows him to get out. Stiko, he had to strike towards A, walks out, takes bullets straight to the head. Sense does something similar, clashes back on queenix. But in terms of the numbers game, you're outnumbered 2-1 and already under a minute left on the timer.
And that's mad to me that no one thought that someone could be up close, even though it was deep smoked and tons of flashes and mollies were tossed in beforehand from the CTs. You'd think that one of those 2 players is going to check the angle. They don't. It goes punished and Salazar cleans up Sense. Nork with 49 HP against 4 players, 30 seconds on the clock. It would effectively come down to a 1v2, but Salazar is not missing right now with that AWP. He is primed, positioned, and ready to strike. As are excl. They got 4 map points now.
Man, Salazar, the resident evil AWPer, denying contact towards the site. Patti as well, like you say, man. Those 2 frags, the fact that he gets out and stays alive as well, there's no room for the trade, there's no room to take the command of Banana. It's all getting away from them. And those quicker Banana rounds, well, that's where we've seen a little bit of success from Apeks, but obviously, how many times can you now repeat that sustainably? They've made it to match point. They've got a fair few to potentially even lose on this half before it starts to get a bit scary as well. You could throw 1 or 2 of them away. You've got a healthy bite to work with. You're in a position where Inferno, that could be the first map in the series under the belt for excl. And then the rest of this veto, the rest of this best of 3, suddenly it's got a lot more question marks to it, Vince.
Just having a bit of a game problem, so they're going to restart it real quick. So we should be alive and underway in just a few moments' time. But yeah, I agree with you, Jackie. I think these fast B hits have been working a charm. I was a bit surprised in that previous one. They tossed in the initial 3 or 4 HGs, the Molotovs at the top of the car, and then they just sat back on T steps. So you've thrown in all that utility, you've applied the pressure, but then you've just kind of said, actually, boys, we're just joking. Ceasefire, maybe?
Just a little ruse. We don't actually want to go for it.
And they act like, nah, actually, no ceasefire. We want to win this as fast as possible.
Yeah, we're here to scrap. And scrap they did. Slicing them. It's a bit on contact towards Banana. Nice little pieces of Banana, Vince, like you're getting a breakfast bowl.
And how often has that been the case throughout this entire map? They've been trading it back and forth, but it's for the most part been excl that have been devouring that delicious breakfast bowl, and Apeks just been sat there hungry, stomach rumbling, feeling sad.
Can I have a piece of banana? No.
No, you
It's
can't.
not yours. Brought this from home, all right?
Or it's like, yeah, you can. They just slap you across the head with the banana, splatters everywhere. It's useless now, it's gone.
Ah, covered in banana skin. Never what you want. Oh, man, this is worst case as well, right? Because obviously a technical issue at a time like this, it's kind of one of those where you're trying to keep yourself in it mentally, but obviously all of you are just sort of sat there in a position where you're staring straight forward at your monitors, waiting for things to get figured out, to get back on the server, and then a single miss round, a single mistake where someone pops off, gets a 2K on that CT side, that's the map done.
Exactly the case right now, and Apeks have no room for error. And they're going to go back to that round, man. That dirty, filthy beast ground that is going to be playing in the back of their head on repeat. It's a great call from excl, man. Such a good call, such a smart play, and they executed it even better, honestly. That none of them got sort of lost in the moment. You think at a situation like this, we often talk about pressure. We talk about the fact that these players haven't been here before. Those are the moments that can make or break you in that regard. You know, you get a bit antsy, you twitch, you make these weird reaction decisions, but that was all a play to be as calm and composed as possible, allow them to walk into the trap, and then you move through together. Like they have a P250 and USP on the new boxes. USP peaks first, and then the P250 is just chilling. He wants to wide swing as well, but he knows it's about the bigger picture, it's about the longer picture. So really well played. And excl, I think they're showing experience of a team that has been to majors before, that has been in that big gauntlet. We're live again, and the aggression from jkaem senses too, but there's counter-frags coming in as well.
I think excl thought they could catch them off guard. After the delay from the pause slowing things down a little bit, they wanted to go for something really fast and throw a spanner in the works. The issue is the picks have gone back in favor of Apeks. Ooh, tight timing on this. They pass each other like ships in the night. Salazar's got into the back. Sense will have no idea about this, thinking that his rear is protected, but Salazar, he's walking up, has the scope ready, but misses the flick. Can't deny and punish towards pit. Kraken is left in a 1 versus 3, and they're swarming towards the site. They can play off one another, but they're giving him the 1v1. Sense at least shows up, and the AK denies it.
There was a moment there, though. He got 2 separate 1v1s, and he did land the first bullet onto Sense. I'm thinking, oh, Kraken's going to do it. This is where they get broken completely and lose the map. Hyper-aggressive plays this round for both teams. excl doing something that Apeks didn't do at all in regulation, and that's go for mid pushes and apps peaks as well simultaneously. It doesn't work out for them, but that's going to be in the back of Apeks' mind now. You can't sit back and think, right, excl are just playing passive, they're just playing default Counter-Strike. It didn't work, but it does condition your opposition to play a certain way.
It's the thorn in the side. It's what can make you lose those really important rounds. When you're paranoid about where they could be, not where they are right now. 3 players set up early on towards B, supporting with the additional utility to try and fight for control of bottom banana, exchange of smokes from either team. But the Wolfpack, the majority of Apeks, all grouping up towards mid-side. One man's watching the rear, Kakanito has that covered with the SMG. The rest of the squad begin to make their move round towards Arch. Patti in the library. Vision blocked from the smoke, but the FAMAS in his hands.
3 smokes put down on Arches, and it's jkaem that finds the headshot and is second onto Queenix, who probably should have capitalized. That puts all the pressure on Naughty. He got 2, somehow, miraculously 2 frags from that angle, but eventually runs out of health. And although it's a 2-on-3 and a lot of low HPs on Apeks, unconfirmed damage, and excl, their money now struggling. They have to save. Apeks are working their way back in again.
Change of pace entirely as well. You want to start playing fast, you want to start taking fights early on, we can do the exact same thing. And even with the bailout 2K onto both Nork and Kakanito, it doesn't work for them. At least the save now coming through. Orb for Salazar, have to keep it alive. Kraken as well. Utility and M4 brought into the next. They want to hunt for this, seeing if they can at least spot them. Of course, have to get out of range of that big old bomb blast as well towards the A site to clutch onto what they've got on the T side. Both teams saving what they have. 2 rounds of difference between them now. 1 step at a time for Apeks.
excl have to tiptoe their way through this next round and hope that Salazar and Kraken can just lay down a beating. See if they can pulverize with a fast peek on the AWP perhaps, or Kraken just finds the right timing. But if they play this completely default, it's going to be a pretty straightforward round on the side of Apeks. And once again, anticipating maybe some kind of B-hit shenanigans, they're going to go in for tons of utility. Salazar got tagged. I think it was a Molotov where he got tagged through the wall, but that gave away his position, and so Stiko didn't peek in. Norios finalized. It's all a bait and switch for Kraken, but only 1 kill. These trades aren't good enough, unfortunately, on the side of excl, but now Salazar's going to be given another chance. He rips through 1, baits into Queenix. First headshot does connect, but there's no follow-up. 2v2, though, but it's all down to Salazar's AWP.
The devil in the details in this round. Salazar roams back round towards Arch side, has the scope to work with, hits the first shot, could end it right here, right now if he finds one more wide swing. But Nork runs into the crosshair and the sniper shuts it down. The Danish side are laying claim to Inferno and start this best of 3 off 1 map up.
That shot onto balcony was absurd. It was through the box, straight to the head, instantly takes him out, and that's a round that Apeks should